with the brown and black on the same team. The rap game seems so messed up. If a real G ever got in, I know he stressed up. These fools soaked up our hood game, got fame and loped up using our name. It's a shame you got rich off of our stretch and stripe, and you ain't never gang banged in your life. Your wife the one who really wear the pants in the house. So answer this: is you a man or a mouse? Tricky like Mickey when it come to cheese. Yeah, you took a little quickie from the G, but that's cool though. You did it do low. But after every show, now the homies ask where that fool go. And soon you'll know just what we bothered about when you hear my homies hollering out. Where all the East Side riders at? Where all the West Side riders at?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. It's definitely a pleasure for this brigade of events that's about to take place, man. I got the world famous, the West Coast legend, a brother that I used to listen to on the radio growing up before I even know I was going to have a chance to even be working in that kind of environment. Got his young son with us tonight on the Real Estate Experience. I'm your host, Travon Smith. What's up with your brother KAM? How you doing?
Big Trey, my West Coast OG. For those that don't know, you're in the real estate thing right now, but I know him for helping me feed my family on the radio for the last couple of decades or something. So pleasure to be here, honor to be here, and be on the next level of business and independence and entrepreneurship and all of that.
Man, come on now. It's definitely my pleasure to to be talking to you as always. You're a highly respected soldier, highly respected man, highly respected husband, highly respected father in the community where your words speak volumes. So I want to pick your brain a little bit. It's a different kind of show, the Real Estate Experience, but I want to tap into the audience that we have to kind of let them know what's going on out there. Because I find out me going around to these conferences, and I know you doing your conferences and guest speaking as well. That's why I was like, man, I got to get this brother on the show. It's a lot of people that want to know about the minority community and financial literacy. Somebody like yourself has an in-depth education of the history of why we're in this situation that a lot of people might not be aware of. I mean, I could sum it up in a sentence or two, and I try to explain this to kids and stuff like that. So I'm gonna ask you. I think one of the problems. I'm gonna make a statement, then ask you. I think one of the problems with the minority community, in general, you can consider yourself whatever you are, is generational wealth. We weren't born in a generational wealth. We're always having to come back. We're always having to create our own wealth and then get it taken from us from this and that, and work triple and four times as hard in a lot of our minority communities. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. So I want to talk a little bit about how do you think we got into the situation we got into, as far as why we are so far behind?
Well, I mean, off top, the we that we're talking about specifically is the Black and Indigenous, Black and Brown, Black and Native American. So slavery, of course, and colonization is big business. That's how America became the greatest superpower, in the last 6,000 years, is because of, unfortunately, racist, negative, white supremacist agreement and agendas that have been going on for centuries or whatever. So unfortunately, we have borne or bared the brunt of all of that. The Black and Brown community in North America, half of this, the whole territory used to be Mexico, you know what I'm saying? But now they're called aliens a lot of times, according to American legal language. But long story short, business. And if we're going to be colonized or conquered or enslaved, then you have to you have to thoroughly be robbed of a knowledge of how to be self-sufficient and independent or whatever. So the science, once we were made slaves, we were robbed and deprived of this three sciences. And one of them is the science of mating, knowing how to mate and how to choose a mate, and family structure, the science of warfare, and the science of business. Business is the activity of life itself. So if we never been taught, or we've been robbed and stripped of the knowledge of how to do those three things, business, warfare, and mating, then, you know, you get a permanent underclass, you get a permanent serf, peasant, slave class. And that's what, unfortunately, we've been for the last 500 years.
Yes, sir. And I totally get what you're saying. For the people that's tuning in, man, we're talking to our brother KAM, West Coast legend. His son, young Nas, will be joining us. The wife, Miss Muhammad, may chip in as she pleases with us. So I always sum it up like this. If me and you started a business today with Miss Muhammad and little young Nas, and we had 1,000 people work for us for free for the next 40 years, we will become millionaires. Trillionaires, right? Yeah. So Black people worked for 400 years for free, plus, you know, for whatever systems that were running. So we talking about millions of people work for free. So of course it made the country the richest nation in the country. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. So where we're going with it tonight, we're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about the history of how African Americans got in this situation, and what we will slowly transgression, you know, to where we want to go as far as getting brothers to start understanding what better decisions they need to make. So with that being said, we know where we've been. So a lot of people, I'm gonna ask you this, Brother Cam, a lot of people said, well, it's been so many years. Why haven't African Americans figured it out? Minorities figured it out by now? How do you feel about that?
Well, a lot of us have figured it out by now, and it's, you know, it's in biblical prophecy and all kind of stuff. It's historic and biblical. You know, we have had a real, you know, force, a real power, organized, concerted conspiracy against us, you know. In order for America to be as strong as she has been, you had to be a conspiracy to, you know, to keep us in a certain condition. But now, you know, information is out and information is available, and it's like you said, it's well, actually I forgot the question. What was the question?
So what we're saying is, so a lot of people will say, well, it's been so many years, and we know because we are those people,
right?
And it takes time to get out of this hole we've been put in. So why aren't we able to fix it as of yet? Because it's been so many years and slavery is so old.
Oh, yeah. So I was getting to my bad because I got short-term memory, but I was leading to why there's a such thing as a state called Israel, the state of Israel, that's been receiving reparations, you know, and aid and support from America and Europe for the last 72 years now. And we weren't the one that put him in that condition, you know, Hitler and the Germans, the Nazi Germany, whatever it was, but we know how to help. We know how to come in and use our tax dollars to the tune of billions and billions of dollars per year, ever since 1948, you know, to help and support and restore and try to heal and repair what has happened to a people according to their race. They was targeted and destroyed according to their race, because they say Jewish is a race. So we relate to that 100%. So we know that is owed to us, especially because white America didn't have, you know, we didn't do that to the German Jews in Germany. You know what I'm saying? Hitler did. But the fact that, you know, this country knows how to do that for their white brothers, they definitely should know how to do that for those of us they actually victimized like that for 400 years. So the fact that they don't let us know, okay, what we're dealing with, and reparations, we can't expect reparations to even come from them. Yes. We have to repair ourselves. And if we see when in Rome, it's about learning financial literacy and learning how to buy back America, like China is doing. Everything is for sale in America. This is a capitalist, you know, nation. So you got to know how to capitalize and speak the financial language. A lot of people is mad at Donald Trump. I don't have a dog in the fight, but if he knows how to become a multi-billionaire and only pay $700 in taxes, I want to learn that.
Yeah,
I want to learn how to do that.
Definitely. So that's, once again, you always be on point where you lead me to my next situation. So my next situation is, we talked about how African Americans have been, well, we started with minorities, but we really talking about African American community because we can't speak for the Latino community to a full extent. We talked about how we were used for 400 years, and they put us in we dug our own hole, or we were put in a hole.
Yeah.
Now people are saying, well, what's the comeback? Like, why is it taking so long? Why are you guys still blaming slavery? So I want to go into this. Now I want to start looking at ourselves in the Black community, in the minority community. Are we helping ourselves by the way we act? Or do you think those are habits that contrived from, all these years of being mistreated? Because I see the news and I'm like, why is these brothers doing these smash and grabs? That's stupid. Why is these people like they don't want to respect us until we start respecting ourselves? Or we say Black Lives Matters and then we shoot ourselves, and like, we have to stop all this. But it's a hurt that goes through years and years. And can you talk a little bit about how we're hurting ourselves and our mental, psychology has still not got to where it needs to be?
Right, it's generational trauma. Right, and that combined with the distractions, generational trauma is passed through our DNA. A lot of people say a lot of diseases are hereditary, like it's physical things that's hereditary. It's also psychological things that's hereditary. Trauma can be passed down in your DNA. Trauma can be passed down in your sperm and your eggs, all of that. So if it's to that extent, it is hereditary. But if you also are put back in that environment, that same environment that created the trauma in the first place, then it's a vicious cycle. It's a self-feeding aberration or problem. So unless you have a extreme way to break that inertia, break that law of inertia, thing that's at rest tend to stay at rest unless it's acted on by a superior force, or if a thing that's moving in a certain direction. If we're moving in a direction of, ignorance and self-destruction and, helplessness or whatever, unless a superior force or information or event happens to send us in another direction or stop us from going in this direction and send us back in the right direction, we're going to stay here. And fortunately, we have had those events, and those informations have reached us. So we have examples. It started, early with Marcus Garvey, or, Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We've had, leaders and examples of self-sufficiency, self-independence, Rosewood and Black Wall Street. So we proved that we can do it. And if we know enough about our history, even during slavery, we was the architects. We was the ones that built everything. It wasn't the slave master. The slave master just knew how to whip us and knew how to traumatize us since we were children. But we were the actual architects and mathematicians and carpenters. We built all of this. But now, once it's time to set us free, so to speak, Abe Lincoln, 1865, it's time to free them. Okay, now we have to, move the goalposts and make it hard and actually do sharecropping and Jim Crow and all kind of stuff to starve them out and force them back into a type of a slave, type of dependency or whatever. But as far as like you said, why won't they get up and do something for themselves? Because we were scared. First of all, we was traumatized, because it's like saying, why doesn't an abuser leave that abusive man? Because I'm scared he's gonna kill me. Didn't y'all burn all of our Black Wall Street? Didn't y'all bomb us in Philly? And every time we try to do something for ourselves, but then we have to get to the point where it's just better just to die a man or die independent than to live a slave. So that's where we are now. The time in history then brought us to that point.
And that's something, like I said, man, me and brother KAM Muhammad, we're trying to put together something special to where we're trying to show financial literacy to the community. Everybody's welcome, but we're going to focus on the minority community, focus on the Black community. We need to start making better decisions and help change our thought process, because we can only save ourselves. I do the real estate. He does financial literacy. His wife is also in real estate. So, man, it's definitely a pleasure. This is the first of many things to come. I'll tell you guys, I won't go take much of your time. I do want to find out, man, I've been reading about your son. I've become a fan of what you do. Talk to us, Young Nas, a little bit about what you do and what's going on with you.
Oh, thank you. I would like to say thank you, Mr. Smith. I appreciate you. Thank you to the audience that's listening. And can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. What I've been going on, for those that don't know, my name is Young Nas. I am the CEO or founder of I Got Options LLC. And my business is all about teaching financial literacy, like you were just saying throughout this entire interview. So more specifically, what I teach is how to build wealth through the stock market, through stock trading, and especially through options trading, right? Now, options is very similar to the stock market. However, there are different details and different little sneaky things that make it different. And so because as Black people, not just as Black people, but just the darker colored people of the earth, we've been neglected of this information that has allowed our prior slave masters to thrive, not only off of us, but off of the entire world. So that also like piqued my interest in studying stocks when I was 13. So that's when I first started, and I've been going strong. So I've been studying for 4 years what stocks are, and I built my business or established my business a year ago. And yeah, I really do love helping my people understand how to do for self. It's a really dope passion.
Yeah, that is something we need. We need young brothers like you to keep the other young brothers motivated. As me and your dad and your mom, we're gonna try to keep our generation and some younger generations inspired. So it's definitely a pleasure to get with the Muhammad family, man. It's something that people will be seeing. The real estate experience. I don't know how often you're gonna get it, but you're gonna get it. So this is we're focused on this. Me and Brother Cam have a history of going back to help out in the community all through Los Angeles. We got on the phone. We was like, hey, let's put it together. Since I have an audience, he has an audience, and let's talk about building our youth up in our generation.
Yeah.
We got to stop. It's just silly things, man. We got to stop these smash and grabs. It don't make sense. We got to have insurance instead of GoFundMe's. We got to figure this out on our own. We can't sit here and wait for other people to help us. We have to focus on our own self.
And you're doing it, Trey, with the main three things that we, especially Black people, instead of blaming white people and begging and all the stuff that we do, all the dramatics that we do, the negative dramatics, the victimized mentality, what you're doing in real estate, stocks, and business ownership, those three things, are the major things that will free us financially. You know what I'm saying? And we represent those on this Zoom right here, represents those things. You in the real estate, my wife in the real estate, my son is in stocks and stock options and futures and all of that. Me, of course, in my little way, independent, music, in the music business, I've always been independent. But another aspect of that also is investing, like actually buying businesses, like acquiring business acquisitions and stuff like that. So we also, dabbling into that. But those are the things that, free our time up.
Yeah.
Because money is not what we're after. We just after the time that we can, quality time that we can live our life and spend with our families and explore the world and learn and share, whatever. So we trying to make ourselves free to own what part of this earth that we can call our own and have the time to enjoy it.
Enjoy it with our families. And that's something I'm big on. A lot of people think, oh, we're always talking about money. No, rich people enjoy them. Like I know numerous people, they work 5 days a week, they have 25 days off, enough time to go visit their mothers, their sick fathers, their the nieces and nephews. This is all minorities want to do too as well, but we work 15 hours a day. We work, if not more than that, you know what I'm saying? Then we got to take care of kids and that. We have to learn the system in which we call financial literacy, financial freedom, financial privilege. We have to create it ourselves, and this is what we're here for. The real estate experience, man, with Brother Cam, Young Nas. I'm not sure if Miss Muhammad want to speak and give her word, but I told her, Miss Muhammad, we could talk next week, and we could do our interview separate if you like, and just talk real estate.
Anybody that if you got any sons, daughters, nephews, nieces, grandchildren, or whatever that you want them to learn, the stock market, options trading, and the difference between just share options trading and investing and options, definitely holler at Young Nas, because
blow Young Nas up.
Yeah, we're trying to change the narrative, just like Nipsey, rest in peace, trying to make this cool for the youth. It's about the bag. We need to know how to get the bag without being an employee. There's nothing wrong with being an employee, but you know, you want to own, you want to control, you want to put yourself in a position where nobody can fire you, nobody can lay you off, nobody can starve you out, because I know how to go right to the jugular vein of money, where money is generated, which is the stock market or real estate or whatever, and get mine directly from the well, not from somebody else handing it to me.
We can't. 2020 showed us more than anything when they laid off hundreds of thousands of people that worked for companies 30 plus years without any stipends, without any bonuses, and they just cutthroat them and then didn't pay them EDD or unemployment for years. That should have taught us more than anything. If they, you know what I'm talking about. If they can't trust their own system, we sure can't trust the system. Right. So,
and us as parents and grandparents that might not have the time or the energy to do it, we want our children to know how to do it. So while our children are, you know, my son is 17. He's been doing it. We put him on the stocks when he was 13. So he been like Joe. I was Joe Jackson or Serena Williams' daddy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He been on it. You know what I'm saying? So he's a phenom. You know, most of the people in the black stock market community know who he is and took him under their wing as their little protege, their little nephew or whatever. So he knows his stuff. I always told him, never tell nobody how much money you actually make or you trade with or whatever. It's not their business.
Yeah.
But, you know, he wants to make this cool for other teenagers or, you know, 10, 11, 12 and up years old. So we start ours the way that they start theirs. Not saying there's nothing wrong with their way, but they already had a head start. Yeah. They have generational wealth. They have grandfathered in inherited wealth that we never got a chance to do. So now we got a little breathing time. We can, you know, make little young Nas's and he can interact with your son or your nephew or your daughter or whatever, and actually be about a culture of wealth, legal wealth building, instead of turning up and getting high and doing tattoos and, you know, sex and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Become an owner, become a ruler, and then you can do whatever you want to do.
Look, we need to detach from the Jordans and the Gucci belts and talk to young Nas about improving.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
And start showing our kids young wealth and financial literacy. The Asian culture's been doing it for years. The Hispanic culture is on top of it. The white culture is on top of it. We are behind as a people, and that's why we here, man. The real estate experience, Mr. KAM. I super appreciate you for hanging out with me, young Nas. Make sure your daddy send me all the information so we can put in the description. And Miss Muhammad, we'll talk during the week or whenever you're ready. And man, thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I appreciate you, Big KAM.
Appreciate you more, Big Trey, man. Love you, bro. And peace.
Love you more, man. Hey, I've been a fan since before you was before I even stepped in the K-Day door. So you already know what it is. Anything we can do, let's put it together.
Yes, sir.
All right, boss.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, boss.